Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Tuesday, guys. I want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as season. I got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Tuesday, guys. So, guys, I've been down for a couple of days. I didn't know that there's a such thing that's called fresh grass allergies. And it happens like when your grass is like newly cut, freshly cut. So my landscaper came on Sunday to cut the grass, and I went outside briefly to say something to him, and I don't know what it is, but I mean, I got triggered bad, and I mean, it literally feels like you have a cold. So when I Googled fresh grass cut allergy, it blew me away that really is a thing. Like you literally feel like you have the flu. So I've been down for a couple of days, but I feel so much better today. So I figured I'll jump on really quickly and give you guys a little encouragement. So I just want to say really quickly, and I've been reading your emails. I replied to some of you actually. But be sure that you're not coming in agreement with the enemy, that basically whatever the enemy is trying to drop into your spirit, and because you're already feeling down and out, right? Because some of you guys are going through a really rough season and you're really feeling down and out and you can't really see how things are working out for your good. It'll be easy to come into agreement with the enemy. Be very careful that you're not doing that, especially speaking out loud, right? If he said something to you and that's not what God has promised, regardless of what it looks like in the physical realm, if that is not something that God has said to you, you cannot agree with him. You cannot agree with him. Like say, for example, let me think about something. Okay, so you're a person who already struggles with self-esteem issues and confidence. And the enemy may start saying something to you like, oh, you can never do that. You're not beautiful enough. You don't have what it takes, and look at you and all this other nonsense, right? And now you might be having one of those bad days, one of those down days. And here you're really feeling down and out. And you happen to look in the mirror and you're not feeling your best that day. And you're just like, you know what? I'm not beautiful. I just don't see how it's going to happen. No. You cannot come in agreement with what the enemy has said to you, right? So you have to find Bible scriptures that speak against that same thing that you're struggling with, and you have to read your affirmations. You have to say your affirmations out. And granted, we all have those days where we don't feel our best, but the point is you can't come in agreement with that stuff. You just can't. Next, I had a good sis message me. Sis, you can comment if you want to. You know, I never call names, but I think a lot of people are really struggling with alignment in the sense of whatever the promise God have spoken to you, right? Or whatever it is that you're asking God for. It's almost like people want to wait until it happens for their life to be in alignment with that thing. You need to be walking currently. Your life needs to be in alignment with what God has spoken to you. So you need to be really living this thing like you already have it. Even though you may not have it yet, you got to still live your life like it's already there. First of all, that's faith, because your actions are aligning up to what God has said to you. So for my good sis, she's adamant. She said God have told her he has a husband for her, and sis, I believe you, and I'm standing in agreement with you there, right? But she's literally, no exaggeration, she's on a date every week with a different person, and it's like she's overwhelmed because she feels like, well, she's trying to force certain things, or then she's frustrated when she gets on the date and then the guy says something like, well, marriage is not in the cards for him. So she's just going through all this and her emotions are all over the place. And she's like, well, God says he's going to send me a husband. Faith without works is dead. Okay. First thing is, I hear you and I get what you're saying. Truly, I do. But your job is not to go out here and start trying to randomly pick man, right? The man has to find you. Anything that God has for you will find you. Now, I'm a firm believer in if God asks you to place place yourself in certain environments, and God will do that strategically, right? Strategically. He may ask you to place yourself in certain environments because, I mean, you can't meet somebody if you don't leave out the house, right? So your job is to be in alignment to what God is telling you to do to prepare for whatever he's promised you. So what you're doing is you're trying to play God and trying to literally handpick your quote unquote kingdom spouse. It's not going to happen like that. In fact, God will just back off and go silent on you and let you do whatever you do. And that's why you're frustrated, truth be told, because you're trying to, and I know it can be very confusing because it's only like faith without works is dead. But we have to know what are our works. Our works are the thing that God has told us to do to prepare for the promise. So what have God told you? Have God says work on your finances? Have God said work on your credit? Have God says, okay, start back getting more healthy and fit? Have God says go to therapy because you got some childhood traumas and drama. So go to therapy because you're going to need all this stuff. You can't start going when I send the man, right? So whatever God has told you to do, then your job is to do that. God will send the person. And then when you're working towards certain things, God just starts to direct you. He may put you in an environment where you have several options, right? I mean, you do, but you get the point. Your ordained person will have to find you, but God has to prepare you first. So our job is not to go out here trying to play God. Just be in a posture by being obedient, and your obedience will then have you in alignment to receive what God has promised you. And then you have to also be careful because if God has promised you a kingdom, quote unquote, kingdom spouse, that's kingdom work, right? Kingdom blessings. So you know that's going to be attacked, right? You know that's going to be attacked, right? So there's so many things that God has to prepare you for. So you have to be very stable right now. God will start to give you, if you can take your mind off trying to find the person, right? The person, the fleshly person, but you focus more on the insights God is telling you. God will give you insights before you even meet that person. He'll give you insights about certain things that you will have to war against, certain struggles that this person may have that you may need to be fasting against now. There's so much different spiritual work to be done before the physical manifests. But everybody wants the physical. I get it. But if you get the physical and the spiritual foundation is not done, the physical is not going to last. Because it's going to be attacked more than anything. So this is why God needs you to work on you and stop trying to worry about the physical man. And you're not even prepared to receive this man. Another thing, your space needs to be clear. God is not going to send somebody into mess. God is not going to bless a mess. So you have a different man every single week. How is God? Listen, you know what just popped in my head when I say that? You know what's the ride at the carnival fair, the fair that it like spins, it goes backwards and just go round and round and round, and it plays music and it goes backwards. So that popped in my head with men flying off of the ride. But anyway, how is God going to send you a person and there's no room for you to receive this man? So if God sends this man, if God wants to send your quote unquote kingdom spouse this Friday, right? That's God's plan. But you just been on the date Wednesday, Thursday. Your emotions are all tied up about the people who you just left from. You're sitting here trying to think about, well, is he the one? I mean, he's a little dirty, but I can wash him up a little bit. Or, I mean, he says he doesn't go to church, but maybe if I pray for, like, your mind is too wrapped up and warped up into these different men that you're meeting. So this is why it's important that you need to be in the posture to receive, because if God was to send him tomorrow, you need to be clear. Literally. So and then another thing, you have to be very, very, very careful when God has told you and spoken to you that he does have a kingdom partner or a kingdom spouse, etc., coming. Because this will be the time that you will meet 35,000 counterfeits per week. So all these men that you have options, you're going to all these dates, you probably couldn't even find these men a year ago. But once God has spoken to you, what he has coming to you, now the enemy is going to send you all counterfeits. And these counterfeits, many of them will look great. They will look great. So this is why you have to be so disciplined, so you can be sure that you're in alignment, to be sure that God will say, ding, ding, ding. Your spirit will alert you clear as day. If you're questioning, is he the one? Is that ain't it? That's not it. Your spirit will alert you. Your spirit will be so settled. Your spirit now, if you can turn your flesh off, your spirit will not, you wouldn't even question it. So that's what that's my opinion on that. What was the other thing I wanted to speak about? Don't come into agreement with the enemy, what the enemy is saying to you. Counterfeits. It was something else. Oh, what was the third thing? Well, actually, it was based more around the first thing what I spoke about not coming into agreement with the enemy. But right now, you have to know what God has said to you. You have to know clear as day what God has said to you. And if some of you are struggling with needing that 87th confirmation, because as people, we got to have, can you send me another confirmation, God? Can you listen, if it hasn't happened yet, some of you are going to get confirmation so clear as day. Something is going to happen supernaturally where God is going to hit your spirit clear as day. Is going to be so clear that you won't even question if God said it again. He's going to make it clear. I'm talking about clear. So just keep holding on. If you're still struggling with, is that God? Is that not God? Is it not God? God is going to make it clear to you. He needs to make it clear to you because open doors are right around the corner for many people. Suddenlies are right around the corner for many people. So he has to make it clear. But you have to believe it. And the reason why he has to make it clear is because you have to believe it. God is not going to open the door when we're still having reservations. And many times the reservation is just self-sabotage. Not feeling worthy and not feeling you're going to mess it up. I'm going to mess it up. I'm going to mess it up. Nobody in the family ever, can I do it? Can I handle it with God? All that nonsense. That's us. That's us. But you have to know that God has said it. You have to know that you were chosen. You have to know that you answered the call. You have to know that you have to go against the grain. Obviously, you have to know that God will help you. You have to know that you have to hold God's hand the entire way through, even when it's released, or if not, you're going to mess it up. So this is the whole point. It's not you. So we're too busy in our own heads thinking about what we can do, but it's not us. We're not doing this in our own strength. So some of you have had revelations. God have really shown you areas where he's going to really take you higher. And people are really starting to have some reservations now because it's like when he first said it, you feel like, well, okay, I still got time. Even though you was rushing him and harassing his nerves, you knew you still had time. But now that some of you are really feeling that your spirit is very settled and suddenly can be any day, now it's the reservations. Am I really ready? Can I really handle it? Am I going to mess it up? The whole key again is recognizing that, yes, you will mess it up. Me, I will mess it up. But that's us. We're doing it in the strength of God. And you have to hold on to God's hand even when it's released. So don't get too prideful when it's released and feel like, oh, well, I can. No, you're going to mess it up. You got to stick to holding God's hands the whole way through. So yeah, you got to start claiming it. You got to believe it. Again, God's going to settle your spirit. And there was something else popped in my head just now. I don't know. it may come back to me. But I just wanted to share that because, again, I know a lot of people are really struggling right now. Distractions. Distractions are always around. But some of you are realizing that distractions are like they're not even petty stuff anymore. They're large distractions. It's almost like if some of these distractions are things that God have been clear and you let it go, or you put it down, or you just kind of you were obedient to it, and then something just flesh got back involved and you kind of just forgot about what God told you to do, and you got your hands right back in it, not even intentionally, and now it's a warfare. There's a warfare going on, and it's a distraction. So be very careful that and if that's you right now, like I said in the recording on Sunday, reel back and figure out, have you picked up something that God told you to put down, and you did it at some point and you got distracted. Now you're back messing with it. But if you're going through some kind of like a little small warfare, like a quick seasonal warfare, ask yourself if you've picked up something that God has told you to put down. And it could have stemmed from that, because let me just tell you, getting ahead of God or being disobedient to something He's told you to leave alone, and you start messing with it again, you talking about some unnecessary warfare. It's almost like it's unnecessary warfare. Because like if you just did what He tell you to do, you wouldn't be going through the headache. And now you're dealing with a attack for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that you could just really be in alignment and being obedient to whatever He's calling you to do. So I think it was one other thing I wanted to say, and it's just not coming. So I don't know, maybe that was me, but if it does come, I'll pin it in the comment section. So you guys have a great one. Keep pressing. Any day now. It's your girl, Kizzy Rob.